Now let's get into it. So how do I begin to describe the woman who gave me life? Who gave birth to me? Who carried me for 9 months in her womb? My mother is beautiful, powerful, remarkable, resilient, courageous, and all around phenomenal. I guess that's a good start. See, first of all, what y'all need to know about my mama is my mama was a thug, and that's on period. There ain't no way around it. She was the most gangster person I knew when I was a kid. And I used to be like, it don't make no sense. But this lady to be such a fucking gangster, like, my mama did not play. And I ain't gonna go into too much detail, but please understand, she didn't then and still don't now take no shit from nobody. She has always been unapologetically herself. And I think that's one of the things that I admire most about her. I remember driving down the street, passenger side of my mama's car, and her rapping DJ Quick. Like, so me and one of my good friends, when we talk about her mom, she always references Toni Braxton and Whitney Houston in reference to her mom. When I think of my mom, I think of DJ Quick. I think of Tupac Shakur. I think of Biggie Smalls. I think of NWA, because that's how motherfucking gangster my mama was. She ain't play. She ain't play about her kids, especially. She ain't play about her mama. She ain't play about her siblings. My mama, she the definition of pull up. It's on sight, because it's gonna go down. Oh, yeah, we gonna get into it. My mama is a gangster, is what y'all need to know, first and foremost. But let me just back it up just a little bit. So my mama calls me Bree, not Kiana, because she ain't basic like everybody else. She calls me Bree, which is short for Brienne, which is my middle name. And I remember, I don't know how old I was when I first realized my middle name and what it was. And I always wondered why my mama named me Brienne, but I always really loved the name. And I think it just means so much more to me that that's what my mom calls me and nobody else. My mama has 7 kids. She actually calls a lot of us by our middle name. But if you don't know, my mom has 7 kids. And I've spoken before about how my mom carried the burden of raising all of her children with very little assistance from our fathers. Another thing I admired about my mom, with or without these fools, she made it happen. She's going to always make it happen. What I say, mama always got a plan. Mama always got a plan. And that's facts. And I'm like my mom in a lot of ways. I think that I get a lot of things from my mom. Mostly her strength. My mama was very strong, and I watched her endure a lot when I was growing up. And me in my adult age, I endure a lot. Not the same things, but I'm able to endure the things that I'm able to endure with the strength of God and with the strength of my mother. My bouginess, right, is also another thing. Like, people think I'm bougie. I can be a little bougie. I like nice things. I like things a certain way. And if that equates to bougie, I'll take it. But I remember growing up, and I just couldn't understand why it took my mama so long to get dressed. I would be like, lady, like, please. But I would see her smoking her cigarette, doing her makeup, sitting in front of the fan. And she always had her hair done. She always had her nails done. She never left the house without her makeup done. And if you know me, having my hair done, my makeup done, my nails done, it's just a part of life. Now, I typically go the natural route, but makeup done and nails done, oh yeah, for sure. I got that from my mama. My mama always looked presentable leaving the house. Like, it didn't matter if we was going to the grocery store. It didn't matter if she was picking us up from school, if she was going to work, if she was going to hang out. Like, my mama, hair, nails, and makeup done, period. But I guess how me and my mom differentiate as far as like having our makeup done is my mama makeup was always real subtle. She didn't have to do a lot. Little pressed powder, little eyeliner, little lipstick. She good to go because my mom has always been naturally beautiful. And so, yeah, she didn't have to do a lot. And she didn't do a lot, but she did just enough. And now that I'm actually thinking back, I remember my mom had this purple, like wine colored lipstick. Or maybe it was more like fuchsia. I just remember this purple lipstick, and I can still see it vividly in my head that she had one day. And I remember stealing her lipstick and wearing it. And it was the first lipstick I ever wore. And I was so young, and I held on to this lipstick for years. And I just used to wear it. And I loved when my mom would wear lipstick. And it's so crazy thinking back now, because now I'm the queen of lipstick. I make lipstick for a living, and I am still to this day trying to replicate that lipstick. I don't know what it was called. I don't know where she got it from. I wonder if she would even remember what I'm talking about. But I've been trying to replicate that purple lipstick to this day. And I think about the show Living Single. Not to get too far off topic, but y'all know, I know y'all seen Living Single. And Sinclair was like, purple lipstick, the black woman's enemy. And I remember watching it as a kid, and I'm like, purple lipstick, the black woman's enemy, because that don't make sense, because my mama wore this lipstick, and then I stole it, and I wore this lipstick, and we are two completely different skin tones, and we both look good as fuck in this lipstick. So try again. Purple lipstick is not the black woman's enemy. So my mama's a Virgo. And Virgos are clean freaks. They neat freaks. And if you've ever lived with a Virgo, then you know what I'm talking about. And I remember growing up, and anytime we would clean up, my mama would just come and look. Like, is it clean, Ma? You like it? It's good? She'd be like, it ain't clean. It's straightened up. And we would just be like, what? I don't know how much more clean it could get. And then she would go through and she would clean it, and we would be like, oh, okay, I guess maybe it was just straightened up. I don't know. It was so crazy. My mom's a Virgo. She loves pine saw. Like, the house would just smell like pine saw all the time, cleaning. And again, like I said, we would clean the kitchen, we would clean the bathroom, the living room, our rooms, and she would always look in, looking like this will never do, and go back and do it herself. And I would know she was doing it because I would smell a hint of pine saw. So y'all know how like Saturday mornings you will wake up to either gospel music or like old school R&B, and you would know that it's time to get up and clean. Your parents cleaning. Like I said, my mama was a gangster. She was a thug. Period. We would wake up to rap music. My mama is the reason I love Tupac. I love Tupac so much. But she introduced me to a lot of good music, so I don't want y'all to think my mama only played hardcore gangster rap, because that ain't true. Who else did I? Mary J. Blige, Prince, Mariah Carey, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Missy Elliott. Oh my goodness, I fell in love with Missy Elliott thanks to my mom. New Edition. The Isley Brothers, like the list goes on and on. My mom had a diverse playlist, and me and my sisters just used to sing along. She introduced me to so much good music, artists that I still love and admire to this day. And I remember spring cleaning time, I would come down the stairs, all the windows would be open, the blinds would be open, the music is going, food is cooking, and the house would just feel like a whole new place. And my mom would say that it was spring cleaning, and she was cleaning up and she was stowing things out and moving things around and rearranging the furniture and all of this stuff. And one of the things I miss most about living with my mom is her cooking. My mom is, oh Lord, my mom is such an amazing cook. And I tell people all the time that I truly believe this, and can't nobody tell me otherwise, that my mom is literally the greatest cook on earth. And I remember telling this to an old friend of mine, and he was like, well, everybody thinks that about their mom. And I'm like, and everybody's a liar. Because I had some of y'all mamas cooking, and it wasn't good. It was lacking seasoning. It was lacking flavor. Maybe it wasn't done good enough, and maybe I ain't going into this much detail with them. But I'm just saying, some of y'all are liars. Y'all mamas can't cook. My mama can throw down. And I've never had a friend try my mama cooking that wasn't like in awe, like in amazement at how good it is. And me and my sisters take after my mom in cooking, especially the baby, okay? My mom's youngest daughter. Now that's the chef right there. She can cook for sure. But I remember I have a friend, and he was like, your mama can cook. And he was like, and your sisters can, all y'all can cook. And I'm like, yeah, because one thing my mama wasn't going to do is be out here raising kids that can't cook. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. She didn't always like us cooking with her because we were more so getting in the way, and she just needed to handle it on herself. And we still can't go toe to toe with Tasha in the kitchen. Mama, forgive me. We still can't go toe to toe with her in the kitchen. But we pretty up there. We do a pretty good job. So, that's great. My mama definitely she definitely taught us how to survive. She raised us on survival more than anything. We didn't just know how to cook and clean. We knew how to get by in this life. Like I said, I learned a lot of things from my mom. I take after my mom in a lot of ways, and surviving and getting through would be a huge way in which I learned to take after my mom. And I remember when I was younger, I used to think that, I didn't think my mom was the most kind or nurturing mom ever. Like I said, she was consistently in survival mode. My oldest sister, my mom had at a really young age. And so she was forced to grow up sooner than a lot of us were. I mean, here I am at 28 years old, and I still don't have my first child. And at times I don't really feel like I'm fully an adult yet, and I'm pushing 30. You know what I mean? So I always try to put myself in my mom's shoes and try to imagine a teenager having a child and how heavy of a burden that must have been for her. And I always offer my mom grace, because I know she did the best she could for what she knew at that time. And she always made sure that we were well taken care of. And like I talked about in the 53206 podcast episode, I think it was just 2 episodes back. And if you have not listened, I strongly encourage you to go back and listen for context on just how rough times really got for my mom, my siblings, and I at a point in time, and how my mom always pushed through. She always had a plan. She always made a meal out of nothing. When I say my mom is a cook, okay, she would literally take the 2 most unconventional ingredients in the kitchen and make this 5-star meal. And I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. This is literally what she could do. And I would be like, where did this come from? Like, I didn't even know we had this in the kitchen, but she would do it and she would put it together to make sure that her kids had something to eat. She made sure we survived in every way possible. And I feel like whether consciously or unconsciously, her priority was to make certain her kids just made it through each day. But make no mistake, my mom was a caregiver. Okay? She was definitely mom to more people than just the children she gave birth to. You see, my mama took care of her whole family. Yeah. Even at a young age, even as a teen mom, she took care of her family when her family should have been taking care of her. And trust me when I say I know firsthand how heavy it is to have the weight of your entire family on your shoulders, when all you're trying to do is make it through each day. But the love that you have in your heart, the selflessness that you have in your heart propels you to continue to take care of the people around you. My mama raised her siblings, or at least aided and assisted in raising them. She was the oldest. And see, I'm a middle child. I have no clue what it feels like to be the oldest, and I have no clue what it feels like to be the youngest, because whenever that point in time was that I was the youngest, because I was never the oldest, whenever that point in time was when I was the youngest, I was too young to remember. Me and my siblings are very close in age, so I was just absolutely too young to remember. So I don't know what it's like to not be the middle child, but to be the oldest child and to be the example, for all your younger siblings, and to also be the first child when your parents are young and they're trying to figure things out. That's definitely a heavy place to be. And like I said, my mom didn't just take care of her children. She took care of her siblings. She took care of her cousins and things like that. I'll never forget. My dad actually told me a story. He told me this story more than once, when him and my mom lived together, and so did a few family members. And I just remember him telling me he sees these certain qualities in me, and to not let my family lead to my downfall. And I'm not saying that my mom's family led to her downfall, but he never wanted me to take on too many burdens that were too heavy to carry, like he watched my mom do. And I think that even at a young age, he could see just how similar we were. And as I grew up and as I got older, and when I started to, once I got my own place and I started to make money, I absolutely wanted to take care of my family. But I always remembered what my dad said, don't let it get too far. But this isn't about me. This is about my mother. I don't know if anybody ever told her how much they appreciate her putting everything on the line for them to make sure they were good. And I didn't just have to hear the stories about my mom taking care of her family from her or from my dad or from people in the family. These are things I've witnessed with my own two eyes. I'll never forget, in our home, our family home, what was it? It was a 4-bedroom. And my mom took one of the rooms, and her sister and all my cousins came and they stayed in that room, and they stayed for a while. And this wasn't the first or the only time that my mom allowed family members to come and occupy spaces in our home. And I mean, hey, it was fine with me, but this is just an example of just how loving and giving my mom was. So maybe she didn't always show it at the forefront, but she always showed it in whatever way she could. Most family functions, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, it happened in our home. My mom was always consistently opening up her home for people to come and love each other and rejoice and to share in each other's company. I remember when my grandma stayed with us briefly, and boy, was it a good time. I love my grandma so very much. And as we're inching on Mother's Day is just in a few days. I've been thinking about my grandmother a lot, thinking about how my mom lost her mother, and thinking about just how devastated I would be in this world alone without mine. I remember the first time that I could remember my mom told me she was proud of me. And I'm like, who are you talking to? And she like, you. And I'm just looking around like, me? What? Oh my goodness. And she's like, I don't know if I ever told you, but I really am proud of you. And we hugged and we cried. And it meant a lot to me, because all I ever wanted to do in this life was make my parents proud. I knew my parents loved me. I knew my parents cared about me and wanted the best for me. But to make your parents proud, it's like a whole nother level. So when she told me she was proud of me, I felt like I had really done something in this life, because anybody else's stamp of approval really don't mean much to me, not in comparison to my mother. And I just want to take care of my mom, because she deserves all the amazing, gentle things in life. No matter what I do in this life, no matter what I accomplish in this world, no matter how far I go, I will never feel like I truly made it until I buy my mother her dream house in Atlanta, like she always wanted since I was a little girl. And I remember the first time she said she wanted to buy a house and move to Atlanta. I was very young, but that never left my mind. And I always said that I will be able to do that for her. And as sure as we are both still living and breathing, I still plan on making that happen for her. I say all the time, I wonder how my mom feels knowing she gave birth to a billionaire. That is me that plans on making all her wildest dreams come true. I'm grateful to my mother for making sure I made it through high school. Senior year was starting to get rough. It was starting to get a little rough. But she made sure I walked across that stage. And not only walked across that stage, she made sure that I made it to college. She drove me an hour and a half up to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, helped me move into my dorm room, and then she left me there to explore, to start that next journey in my life. And I remember every time I got low on food, my mom, she would tell me to send her a grocery list, and I would send her a grocery list, and she would buy all my groceries, and her and my siblings, they would drive back up there an hour and a half, and they would bring me the groceries. I am so grateful for my mother for always wanting the best for me. I am so grateful that my mother was able to admit anytime she was wrong in order for our relationship to continue to grow and flourish, because I feel like a lot of parents, they just feel like they're the parent. They're right, you're wrong, they're big and you're small, and there's nothing you can do about it. And my mom is not that way. You know, she's willing to see the error of her ways so that we're able to move past it and grow. And I think that that's super important for all parents everywhere, no matter the age of you or your children. I am grateful for my mother for giving birth to every single last one of my siblings, because I cannot imagine living this life without them. Every single last one of them. And there are many different personalities. But it's truly amazing. I am so grateful for my mother for always supporting my dreams, even when she doesn't understand them, even when they're scary to her. She still supports them because she knows that I have a good head on my shoulder and I am going to make the best choices. I'm grateful that my mom was always open and honest with us, even as kids. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know if this is something we should know. But seriously, my mom was always open and honest with us about, what was going on in the present moment, so that there were no surprises, so that there were no secrets. And I'm sure she didn't tell us every single little detail about everything. Like, I know that she didn't tell us every little detail about everything, but she didn't keep us in the dark to just find out things later on down the line when it was too late. So I'm grateful for my mom being open then and being open now. My mom is truly one of my best friends, and we talk about everything. We talk about a lot. Like I said, we're just a few days away in this present moment from Mother's Day, and I'm making sure that I go see my mother so I can lay in her bed and we can watch old movies and we can laugh and we can have a good time. And it'll just be like old times, minus 6 other children, because this is being my mother's time. But I remember when we were kids, we used to go to the Red Box, and we would get movies from the Red Box, like new releases, because first of all, my mama had every DVD imaginable. We had every DVD imaginable. Like, baby, I'm telling you, name a movie, we had it. But when Redbox came on the scene, we would get a Redbox, and we would make popcorn, we would get food, and I would sit on my mom's floor, and we would watch movie after movie, and my siblings would come in and they would join us, or they were already there, and we would watch movies, and we would have a good time. I truly enjoy every moment ever spent with my mom. And I'm just thinking back and I'm just reminiscing. And I think that it's so important, y'all. It is so important to love your parents while they're here, to spend time with them while they're here, to make memories with them while they're here. Because what we know is that there's only one thing that's certain in life, and that is death. It's inevitable. And it can creep up on you, and it can snatch the ones you love the most when you least expect it. So make the most out of every moment you can with your parents. I do believe I have made the most and will continue to make the most out of every moment spent with my mom. And I'm so grateful to have her in my life. The Bible says, honor thy mother and father, and your days will be long on this earth. It's literally one of the 10 commandments. If you don't keep no other law, keep the 10 commandments. For real. My mom actually called me the other day, and we were talking about a bunch of nothing. And she goes, well, maybe I called because I just wanted to hear your voice. And it just warmed my heart to know that we can even have such a bond, that you're just calling me to hear my voice. And that meant a lot to me. You see, my mom may not be perfect by far. Hell, none of us are. But she's the perfect mother for me. And she deserves all the beautiful, soft, gentle, exciting, loving things this life has to offer. And I plan on ensuring that she gets every single last one of them. And to my mother, if nobody has ever told you before, thank you for all that you do. Now, as amazing of a mother as I have, my mom absolutely loves being a grandma. And it's so crazy because I remember when she was first a grandma, and I'm just like, my mom a little too young to be a grandma. Y'all, my mom is young. She's going to be 50 this year. That's young. Like, I don't care what y'all say. I don't give a fuck what y'all say. That's still young. My mama has only lived half her life up until now. We got plenty of time. We got at least five more decades to really get life going. You know what I mean? But anyways, mom absolutely loves being a grandma. And it's the pure joy on her face every time she spends time with her grandkids. Like, she absolutely loves it, and I love to watch it, and all of her grandkids love her so much. So my brother, one of my brothers, he has a daughter, and she hangs out with my mom all the time, and my mom is just like, Malia's my best friend. Malia's my best friend. And she just loves her grandma so much. And I remember just recently I was in Milwaukee, and we were all hanging out at my sister's house. My brother came, my niece was there, and she was just kind of looking at everybody like she didn't want nothing to do with us, y'all. I ain't gonna sugarcoat this. She didn't want nothing to do with us. She just stayed by her daddy the whole time. And I'm like, I get it. Daddy's girl, you know, it is what it is. My mama walked through the door. She jumps down like nobody in this room exists, not even her daddy, when grandma walked in the room. And I'm like, well, ain't this something? She acted like it was time for daddy, but really she was waiting on grandma. But her TT don't mean nothing. None of her TTs mean nothing. Okay, I see how it is. And like I said, my mom was just so happy to see my niece. And I just can't wait for the day I bear my own children. Because when I do, I hope to even be half the woman my mother is, in beauty and in strength. This is the House of Trauma podcast. My name is Kiana Brianne. Do not forget to email me your advice questions to hausoftrauma@gmail.com. I'll see y'all next week.